Well, good afternoon, folks. What a fantastic day, or it certainly is here in North Lincolnshire, and it prompted me to unsawn my bike, my Royal Enfield. So you get stung, you have to tax it from the first of the month that you're in, don't you? So worth it though. So I got it out of the garage, looking like that. I've not cleaned it or anything. And here's a little, I don't know, word of warning maybe. I took it out of the garage and thought, yeah, I'll just nip up the road on it, like an idiot. Didn't occur to me to check the tyre pressures. And I thought, oh, this feels a bit funny. And lo and behold, I took it down to one of these fancy new airlines where you preset your pressures that you want. As we know, it should be about 32 in the front, 36 at the back. I'd got 27 and 19 in the rear wheel. Yes, so that's why it felt a little bit unsafe. So just a moment's lapse really. I just got it out. I thought, oh yeah, it's only been, it's not been long since I put it in there, but of course it's been longer than I thought. So if anybody's thinking, let's get the bike out and jump on it and ride off into the sunshine, it's just worth a check. I should have known better really, but as they say, to err is human. I would recommend checking the chain as well. Mine's got chain lube on it, and it was certainly a bit dried up really, so I've given it a good spray of clear chain grease so that it's pretty low fling stuff, so it's not doesn't end up all over your rear wheel and your tyre and what have you. I thought I'd do a little summary and introduce another Chinese bike. I know I'm not off on one on this Chinese business, but this is, it's a nice little bike. So there's a few of the mods I've done, which if you've watched all my videos, you'll see some of the things I've done to it. So I'm just reporting back on it really. That's the gear change lever that's got the stainless steel adjuster in the middle. It's got aftermarket roses, one on either end, and as you'll know from previous videos, my gear lever I had it drilled out or lathed out, and it's got a cage needle roller bearing in the actual articulating bit of the main lever. As you can see, there's a hole in it which I drilled for an aborted project to fit a gear change indicator, also subject of some previous videos of mine. So I've just not got round to, I've got another gear lever, but I need to get it machined out to put a cage needle roller bearing in it, because it is a lot crisper on the gear changes, and I just can't be bothered doing that. So I've just ridden along with that one with a hole in it. Basically, it doesn't do anything. As I say, if you watch my previous videos, you'll know that was a complete disaster. However, I did admit it, and I said this project is rubbish, don't try it. Now, one or two other bits in this video, just basically catching up on some of the things I've done. If they failed, I'd tell everybody and say, look, this thing lasted 5 minutes, or a year, or 6 months, whatever. So this next picture, that's the Tech shock absorbers, black with obviously chrome springs. That's how they look now, and they've had quite a lot of use. There's no untoward anything occurred to them really. They work fine. As the springs compress a little bit through use from brand new, I tightened the adjusters at the top, as you can see. I'm happy with them. I know people spend 700 quid on YSS rear shockers, which good if you want to do that. It's whatever floats your boat, as they say. But for me, I think to be spending 600 or 700 quid on shock absorbers for a bike that costs 4,000, well, it cost me 4,200 mine, so I'm perfectly happy with them. Other people have fitted them and they're equally happy actually. So there's a little update on those. Now here's the next, a picture of a very happy rectifier regulator. There it is, bless it. It's underneath there, subject of my previous pratings, and it's running happily. No fractured wires, nothing's gone wrong. I've done probably a couple of thousand miles on it actually after I first fitted it. So there it is, happily in the airstream at the front of the bike, above the mudguard, rather than, you know, sit 4 inches from the road. As you can see, I've not had to wash it, not had to clean it, not had to clear the fins out, getting all the muck out of it, which I did when I took it off the underside of the bike. So there it is, happy, functioning, lasting the course. No adverse effects whatsoever. Now the next picture shows the respray that I did on the side panels using clear decals, so I don't have a big black bar across. The standard decals for this bike, obviously all the side panels are black, so when they make the decals for them, they have a black background. If you're going to change the colour, then you end up with, you know, if you have, like I had, orange crush side panels, you end up with a big black bar across them. I personally don't like that. I think it detracts from the look of the side panel. So I got those off a place on the internet, on eBay. He made them to order, actually. They weren't even expensive. Pretty cheap. I think they're about, I can't remember actually, no, about 15 quid or something, not a lot. But as you can see, that was my spray job and my lacquer job, and it's holding up well. There's no peeling of the decals, nothing. So, subject to previous respray videos, if you can be bothered listening to me going on about it, you'll see that that job has lasted. That's the rear decal, which was made by the same people that made the side panels. I just sent him the a photo of the decal on the back of my Royal Enfield helmet. I bought a Royal Enfield orange crush helmet because they were going cheap, actually. And I've got a problem trying to get full face helmets on. I do have one. However, unfortunately, following a hearing test, I found that I've got severely damaged hearing in my left ear, and my right ear's moderate. So about a year ago, I got hearing aids, which, you know, is synonymous with age and decrepitude, which in my case everything else is fine. So I can't put a full face helmet on with these. They're tiny little things, you can't even see them, but boy are they life enhancing. I think it's a lifetime of motorbikes and playing live music as well in a band. So my hearing was damaged, so that's why I've got an open face helmet. It slots on easily. This next picture is the right hand switchgear. So again, subject to previous videos, and this is off an Export CX500. It's an American one or whatever, where it doesn't have the on-off switch, slidey one left to right for the side lights and the headlamp. My bike, the switchgear was terrible on it. The starter button was awful, and you know, everything about it, kill switch rubbish. When I took it apart, it's the feeblest, horriblest little switch I've ever seen. It was like little Morse code clickers, you know, tiny little things, burning out, corroded. My starter button didn't work because of all the corrosion on it, arcing I think. So I replaced them, both of them. So that's off a CX500. You could use one with the slot in it for the lights and just ignore it. And it's a vastly better switch. It's cast alloy, and it's really good actually. It uses the original throttle and the cables with very minor modification. On the left hand side, these are from an FJ 1200 Yamaha, again cast aluminium. On my bike, the indicator switch was truly the worst I've ever encountered on any bike ever. Horrible, you know, trying to get the thing to switch on, push the middle, it didn't, you know, it was just awful. Maybe I had a bad one, because some people said, oh, there's nothing wrong with my switchgear, which is great, but mine was awful, and I hated the indicator switch. Again, I took it off, stripped it, and had a look at it, and it's just the feeblest of, cheapest of plastic, nasty, horrible switches inside. So I got an FJ 1200. It uses the original wiring block connector and the cable with no modification whatsoever. It just goes straight in. I didn't want to be butchering the wiring harness. Again, that's a modification I've done a long time ago now, and it's still functioning perfectly. Just a minor bit of what I did was take this, unsoldered all the switches and use the same block connector off the harness and just soldered them onto the FJ 1200 switches. So That's been a very, very successful modification. It's a delight to use that indicator. All of it is actually. This next pic just shows again the TEC shockers. Now I've not washed my bike for a long time, and I've never once polished the side panels, the engine casings. My theory on that one is once you start polishing them so they look like mirrors, they do look fantastic, and well done the people that have done it. But once you start doing it, you can't stop, can you? You think, oh, there's a bit of white bit there and I better polish that out. And I didn't want to do that on this bike. I just wanted to just use it, not abuse it obviously. So I decided I'd never polish them, and they look fine to me. As you'll see, there's minimal corrosion on fasteners because they're all stainless steel, subject of a previous video. Those Tech shock absorbers, I think they're worth the money. Not expensive, do the job, fit the bike. I'm happy with them. I think this is the best modification I've done. Arguably. I couldn't cope with the fact that the standard rear brake lever looks like a gear lever. It's just got that little slippery bit of rubber on it like the gear change has. And I hadn't had the bike very long, and I must have trodden in diesel at a petrol station when I was filling the bike, and driving off, braked with my rear brake, and my foot kind of slipped off the rubber, and I didn't feel safe. I didn't like it, and I didn't feel safe, so I bought that. That's just a little bolt-on kit. I know that other people have done it. I think Len's done it. In fact, yeah, you have, haven't you, Len? To me, that's more like an 80s Japanese bike. I personally feel safer with it because it grips your foot. It's alloy, and it's just held on underneath with a little clamp, and it's been on now ever since I posted that video. Now, here is another Chinese bike. This belongs to my mate Danny, father of the lad who we got that red one for, Lex Moto, that I posted about recently. This is another Chinese bike. Now he's had this, God, he must have had it 18 months or more now, and again it's a Lex Moto. It's surprisingly good. I mean, I got it on eBay and it was a bit, not tatty, but it had a few bits needed seeing to, a lot of corrosion on the fasteners, the usual. So I did Operation Stainless Steel on it, replaced all the fasteners and all the nuts and bolts and everything. I actually resprayed the grey sweeping bits that go under the blue tank using rattle cans. Now if you look at that bike, in total, I mean, it cost 580 quid to buy it, and I think it's 5 years old. We then spent a further 200 quid or so on stainless nuts and bolts, a few rattle cans to do his side panels. I used the 2-pack lacquer that I mentioned in previous videos, and he uses that daily, and it's a fantastic little bike. Again, it's Chinese. I believe it's got the CG125 cloned engine in there, and what we do is we change the oil every 1500 miles. Oil's cheap, engines aren't, so it only takes a litre. So for under 10 quid you can change the engine oil, which I think is a good thing to do. They don't have oil filters like we've got on our bikes. They've got like an oil strainer, so I think a filter would be better. But bearing that in mind, to spend 10 quid on some oil every 1500 miles is not a great deal, is it, really? This is the model of the bike, an Iska, and as you can see, I think it's an attractive bike. I don't know what other people think. I'm trying not to gloat over my spray job on those grey sweeping bits. What really is the key on that is using the twin pack aerosol lacquer, where you hit a button underneath and it mixes hardener in, so it's a chemically curing lacquer, and it's fantastic stuff, really good. I mean, that's now been done for 18 months without any attrition whatsoever. There you've got the back end. I bought all the little bits, like the chain tensioners, the rear wheel nuts, They were all readily available from Chinese Motor Spares online, very cheaply, and so I went through the whole bike before Danny got it and did my usual, so we haven't got corrosion. Even the shocker mounts there, the shocker bolts, the dome nut at the top is stainless. It's just a question of working through them, so I replaced them all. This is the actual picture of the engine here. So I think from what people have said, I think it's a Honda CG125 or extremely similar. It's electric start, as well as having I would say it's an emergency kickstart really, although it fires up first time if you boot it. This bike is fuel injected. It doesn't have ABS, but as I say, he's had it for 18 months without not a thing, and it still sounds like a sewing machine when it's running. So yet another Chinese bike. They bulk them up obviously by making them look bigger than they are. If there's anybody older on looking at this video, or as old as I am, you remember in the 80s, 70s, 80s, a 125 was very small. These are really big now because of superfluous body panels, but they look better for it. But I don't know what you think. Post your comments on that and let me know. Here is a picture, by the way. It's a bit random, this video I'm doing today. There is the rehomed rectifier regulator. You can see the wires coming out, as I've explained in my previous videos, how to route them. There's no kinking in those wires, and there's no fractures, damage whatsoever. In fact, they hardly move. If you look at the closeness to the steering head, even from full lock to full lock, it's not going through a massive sweep because it's so close to the actual steering head itself. So it works absolutely fine, and loads of people have done them, done the modification. I've got another 8 to send out next week. Now this was, somebody asked me a question about where did I put the pre-adjusters on the YSS fork kit. If you look just above the bottom control cables, you can see there the preload adjuster sticking out. Now that is how it came from the factory. I didn't bother doing anything with it. All I did was the YSS modification and then left it because I thought it's fine, so why touch it? It's absolutely fine, so I've left it exactly where it is. So if anybody does that mod, I suppose it depends how heavy you are. I'm about 13 stone. If you were heavier you might want to add more preload, but that's where the position of mine is, and as I say, it was just perfect. So I thought, well, why touch it really? So I've left it exactly as it was. You can see just underneath the top control cables there's the USB port that I've fitted to the bike. It's handy for phones and things. Here's the bike today. Now as you can see, that the side casing of the engine is not shiny. Now I don't know what you think, and I would welcome all views. Come on, be honest. If you polish it and have it looking all shiny and mirror finish, is it a bit of a pain having to keep it like that? But that side panel casing is Virgo intacta. It has not had any intervention whatsoever. Same with the rocker covers. I just can't be bothered with Solval Autosol and getting it out the Royal Enfield casting. The name is cast into the side casing. The previous owner put some kind of gold paint in there, I think. I don't think that's standard on the bike. So there it is, pot pickers. Just a quick update. Give me your thoughts and ride safe on this sunny day. Watch it and watch your tyres. Don't be like me. Bye.